We again had a rather spontaneous conversation. We ended up talking about remote teaching, how science communication and science journalism could be supported by the public, and speculate about how the political fringe might be missing a sense of belonging these days. This episode follows another month-long delay during the COVID pandemic. Life has simply become a bit unpredictable for me due to the secondary effects of the crisis. And I might also have promised too much in general. But rest assured, I already recorded a number of interesting interviews that I'm eager to edit and then present to you. Don't forget to subscribe to the podcast on your podcast app and share your favorite episodes. Now, the conversation in this episode was recorded several weeks ago, and rumors mentioned may have proven wrong in the meanwhile. However, I left them in because they led to our conversation on teaching. Just keep that in mind, please. I want to thank the people who continue to support us on Patreon despite the irregular schedule. My co-host is Bart Gurten. I am your host, Dennis Eckmeyer, and this is episode 52 of the Science for Societal Progress podcast. Hey, Bart.
Hey, Dennis. How are you doing?
I'm fine. Corona is still on, so I still don't have jobs.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. What did you do in the meantime?
I'm trying to build a portfolio as a podcaster, obviously, and also YouTubing. So I have a new channel together with my dad. He's a clarinet teacher, and now we have a clarinet teaching YouTube channel.
That sounds like a fun father and son project.
Yeah, and then I've been working on my own YouTube channel, doing videos about academic writing.
How do you talk about academic writing in a video?
Lately, I've been doing the videos on my hikes. So I was walking around in the field and taking the videos there, which maybe makes it more interesting to watch. I don't know. I hope so.
I remember your awesome windmill video. Where you went far beyond any safety regulations.
Oh, yes.
For yourself to test how loud windmills are.
Yeah, wind turbines are super loud. We cannot have them close to the villages. And I went out there to prove it to everybody. There were birds courtshipping, I guess. And they totally drowned out the wind turbines, so you couldn't hear how loud they are.
You are basically a freelancer, or you are a freelancer for that matter. There were special Corona help funding for freelancers. Could you participate in that program?
I could. It was very non-bureaucratic, so I could just sign up for it, and I immediately got it. And it was, for my circumstances, a lot of money. But there are rumors that this money cannot be spent to buy new things, and it cannot be spent on your personal expenses. I really hope that's not true, because otherwise I have to give it all back. I don't have running costs. I don't rent an office and things like that. So that would be really bad if I had to give it all back.
But the process itself was quite unbureaucratic, you said. So it was available quite easy.
Yes, it was very easy.
That at least is good to hear, because friends of mine who are running small companies, like, for example, a game store, they say it was rather more complicated to file for the money and then also receive it.
Huh. Well, maybe it's different in different Bundesländer.
So federal states in Germany will have different regulations. That might be the case, yeah.
Right.
How did you fare with Corona anyways in your part of the woods?
Part of the woods. And I think I mentioned it before. I live in a small village, and social distancing isn't very hard here. I've been working remotely most of the time anyways. So that part wasn't too bad for me. And our city, I think, has 0 cases right now. A quick note. We recorded this when numbers were at their lowest. Since then, The number of daily new cases has risen to levels as they had been just before Germany implemented the first social distancing measures in March, which is rather disconcerting.
Ours made actually international news. Even the BBC found time from their own predicaments in Britain to talk about Göttingen. Like my students from abroad would send me back like BBC news screenshots. So there were two big outbreaks, one in the so-called Signal Iduna building. It's not the nicest building. It's very tall. There are many people living in a very small area. And many of them are financially challenged.
Oh, that's what you call poor people now?
Basically, I thought that was a pretty nice way to put it. Yeah. But then, unluckily, the city communicated that most of the infections would have happened during family feasts due to the end of Ramadan.
Oh.
Which wasn't true, but it was mainly one person who actually was already tested and who broke quarantine and then just walked around the city and infected a large number of people. That was pretty, awesome person. Yeah. Really love him. Then he had to stay under police quarantine, and that fixed the problem at least. But for example, the schools of my kids would close again for a week. Kindergarten would close. And then a few weeks later, we have there's only two high-rise buildings in Göttingen, basically, or there are more, but two very big ones. The other one closed down. There are 700 people living in this building.
Jesus. And
it's 700 registered people, so we don't know how many really live there. And the city actually responded really quick and closed off the building. Mm-hmm. Now, on Saturday, the police chopper would go over my house for quite a long time, I don't know. And then we found out that the people in the building rioted.
Oh, shit.
And tried to break out of quarantine. And so the police was there with some injuries, but nothing special. But anyhow, so it stays a bit unclear what actually caused the riots. There's some rumors that these people weren't informed properly. But of course, only people were informed that actually were registered, because you can't inform people that are officially not there somehow. You can still tell it to everybody, but they won't receive official email or mail there as they're not registered. So it's a bit up in the air what happened there. But now it calmed down again. But I think today we crossed the line of 50 people per 100,000 inhabitants.
Oh, good. So once you have more than 50 cases in a town, then, or new cases? No, 50 cases per 100,000.
50 new cases. 50 cases? New cases?
Yeah, I think it's, then special measures are being taken.
We started today again having courses, practical courses at the university.
Okay.
That's going to be interesting, at least. We all have to wear masks. We had to basically cut the number of students that we would take, because we couldn't assure otherwise that they are separated enough in a room.
Right. Yeah.
I think at least we should be able to teach them something in the meantime, and let's see how this goes. But funnily enough, Niedersachsen already plans to cut all funding to new lecture halls.
What?
Yeah. So that came just down the grapevine from the
because you don't need them right now.
I know. Right? We now have shown that virtual teaching is possible and that we could save a lot of money by not having lecture halls anymore.
What? That's ridiculous.
Nope. It's not. It's just the shit that rains down administration.
So Lower Saxony just wants all university campuses to close and go online?
No, they totally see that for practical courses, you still need labs and people running around there and stuff like that. But actually, in lectures, you could just record it once, and that would free up more time that you could invest in other things. And then just share your source material plus your video of giving that lecture.
So it's basically glorified YouTube University then.
I guess not. I guess YouTube is more entertaining.
Well, the videos are better made on YouTube.
If you ever saw
Jesus.
WooTube, that guy is amazing.
Who? WooTube?
Never saw the math teacher.
No.
WOO Tube. WooTube.
Oh, okay.
He's, as far as I understand, he's, I think, an Australian math teacher, and he's super entertaining. It's just fun to watch math lectures with him, even about stuff that I knew about. But he's an entertaining guy, and it's interesting to see how he basically grasps the attention of his pupils.
Oh, cool.
But anyway, I fear I'm nowhere close to WooTube, and I also would have to sanitize all my lectures quite strongly. And that wouldn't be fun anymore.
Because all of the cussing going on, huh?
Nah! I don't cuss, you moron. Yeah, exactly. Because of that. But I would say at the moment I would find it really unpleasant to have a recording of myself being present for eternity.
Mm.
Because maybe something I would say now I wouldn't say in the future.
Right.
And there's this internet culture of pointing out like whatever kind of stupid joke that you couldn't.
Are you planning to make this public? Because my sister's lectures, she's a professor at Munich University.
Yeah.
And those lectures that they make are not public. Only the students who signed up can watch them.
That's true. That will be the same case because otherwise the universities are not going to get subscriptions anymore.
Yeah.
Because I could then get
YouTube subscriptions.
Because then I could get all the information that an amazing university education has to offer online. And might never come to the brilliant campus that I'm not going to because I see all my lectures online. But okay, this internal discrepancy they can solve themselves. But even then,
they still have to come for the practical courses.
Yeah, but even in your sister's case, I would say like if I can see the bit stream, I can record it. If I find a person particularly annoying, I can misconstrue or take out of context anything they say and present it on social media, and then it's something completely different, I would say.
Yes, that's true. That's true.
But
I've seen people taking videos of their lecturers during class, and they were shared on social media. I did not think that was a good idea.
Yeah, and I think I'm pretty okay with what I say, but if I look back onto the person that I was 20 years ago, that's just a different person. And also psychologically, I'm a different person. And maybe I have now biases and I'm not free of biases, obviously. And I say maybe things that I find in 20 years stupid or would not say again.
Yeah. So, also, you update your knowledge, right? You have you learn, and then you have different ways of interpreting the knowledge that you have, or you find better ways to convey them, the ideas.
Also the, let's say, sanitized, boring, factual lecture that I could give now and say like, okay, take everything personally out and make it just about the facts. Basically, the way I would write a scientific paper, but not even that much. Not even, like, also the scientific paper, I would try to be at least write an entertaining introduction, but I just present the facts, present the data, talk about the concepts, and then go on. That version I wouldn't want to have recorded because it would represent somebody completely different from me as a lecturer.
Yes. It wouldn't be teaching anymore, right? The way it's meant to be. So in-person teaching is very different from recording a lecture or just, reading. It's like reading a textbook versus, having an actual teacher.
Yeah, but
I think
even if you take that part aside, teaching also is, to me, it's a bit of an art form. I try to be entertaining. Yes. I try to be engaging. I try to figure out what the people want from me and try to pull them into the topic that I'm teaching. And if I take everything of that out, just by presenting the fact, it would be like making, for example, your dad play in a completely unemotional style, which he would say like, okay, I can do this as like a technical a practice, but it's not the kind of musician I want to be.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
And that I find stupid, but it's like, it's crazy how fast people in the ministry recognized an opportunity to pay less money into the universities. Already we have like cuts to it because obviously we all have to save money. And as we know, as a society, the first thing that you should save money on is education.
Yeah, that makes total sense. Yeah. Health and education.
Health is a crisis at the moment, so we can't cut money there. But next thing that nobody needs is an education.
Right. Yeah. Well, they have been cutting on education for decades, right? By not increasing the budgets. So they set a budget and then they didn't adjust for inflation for like 20 years or so, which was a net decrease in funding of 3 to 4% in many years.
Yeah, it's called the cold progression. I think in German it's called kalte Progression. Yeah, they did that. So seemingly we all have to work with less money over the time. And now they're strongly thinking about like if we can't get all the lectures into virtual teaching. I mean, it's one thing for us teachers or lecturers. It also has a strong impact on the social life of our students.
Mm-hmm.
Studying at a university is more than visiting lectures. It's also coming in contact with people, having these discussions in front or after a lecture, or learning about totally different stuff. And of course, it's important.
Very often, that was the reason I went, because I was bored in lectures. Well, it was worse in high school. So high school, I actually only went for the social interaction during the breaks. You want to socialize with the people that you will be working with, especially when you're young.
No, but it's also like many things that later on define a lot of my science, like computer sciences, psychology, all these interests I developed outside a lecture hall in biology because they're not taught there.
Right.
But there were the people that also heard psychology and said, like, if you're interested in that, you have to think about like, Erkenntnistheorie, whatever that is in English.
I don't know.
And stuff like that. Or if I said like, I think this and this algorithm would be equivalent of that neuronal structure, and then somebody told me like, go and see Professor Ronderat for that and stuff like this. All these interactions will not take place in the same way.
Right.
You could say like, maybe we can also virtualize these parts of the university, but I think that's not the same thing.
No, that's a stupid idea. I think going completely virtual is a terrible idea. If you do that, in my opinion, that should be in lieu of homework. And then you still come together to talk about the lecture so that people can come to you and and ask questions and discuss it in a lecture hall. It's like a reverse classroom kind of thing. Usually you give lectures and then the students have some sort of homework or are supposed to work with the knowledge somehow at home. And the idea of the reverse classroom is that they watch a lecture at home on video and then they could come to class to work with the knowledge. And then the teacher is there to help and they're in groups, and this is supposed to be more efficient.
I can see the appeal of that concept. That sounds pretty good.
I never tried it.
I think the part that I would find more helpful would be that we have some sort of mixed mode system where we actually virtualize the lecture, but most students are in the lecture hall. And if you're sick or if you can't make it to lecture hall for real reasons, not like I don't like to wake up at 7. I'm sorry that I don't count that.
That's a good reason. That's a good reason.
It's not. Like a proper reason. For example, I'm somehow bodily challenged and the commute would be very difficult. Fair enough. There's a lot of good reasons to hear a lecture from home.
Yeah.
with that, in a limited stream, I could live. Why is this different from the things that I said before, where I said I don't want to stream it?
Mm.
Because this would be a live stream. So, first things first, if I say something horrific that should take scrutiny, I really did this in that time, and that's my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have to stand up for an opinion that is like 20 years old, uttered in some conversation that I had with myself. So that's a completely different situation. And I'm ready to take any scrutiny for everything that I say at that moment.
Right.
Or with like some half-life of, let's say, a year or something like that. If somebody records that, who cares?
Yeah.
It will be a very unlikely event. But that's completely different from me making a video that has to persevere like N years, which I don't know of, and might be then scrutinized again and again.
Right.
That I find problematic. But in general, I have no problem with sharing source material and helping students to understand my lecture. I'm not giving this lecture so that they are confused afterwards. I want them to learn.
Yes.
So the second problem that I have with that is that even if I want to share source material, in many cases I am not allowed to. Because the graphics belong to some publishing house, or they are part of an article or textbook. It is at least an unclear situation for me in German copyright law, or at least in European copyright law. Also there I would be kind of scared to say like, okay, do I now have to redraw every bar plot I ever used that might have been published somewhere else? Is this now what I have to do? Because if this is now going to be a video that we are going to use for the next 10 years to teach people how to do a fly electroretinogram, I have to check. I don't want to be taken liable for something that I published.
Well, it's not a publication, right? If it's closed access, I don't think.
If it's closed access, I don't know.
I don't think it
but
counts.
But how do we define that?
Horrible.
Like, it's really hard to define because, like in our case, fair enough. Like the EAG course do 60 to 80 people a year. So if this is already confined access, I'm not sure. But look at, for example, law lectures. In law lectures, you have like 200 to 300 participants. Is this the closed access? I mean, I could also show them a Star Wars movie. I still think I would have to pay for that. I can't claim them all to be my friends and just we having like a fun Star Wars night.
There was a hearing in Parliament, and this was not even the first time they had a hearing about science communication being funded directly by the federal government. Well, not directly. The money is given to another institution that the government has no say in, and then the institution gives the money out, right? The same way we fund public broadcasting services and the same way we fund science in Germany. The idea is, as they realized in times of Corona, as they say, that science communication is super important and that it really is hurt by the market pressure that journalism is under. So they've been asking the government or the parliament to make this foundation to support science journalism and probably also science communication in general. So that's an interesting development. Let's see if they do it.
I think it's very much needed in society. If we don't cross that gap that leads from the lab into the society, we give room to populists and weird notions and fake science, etc., etc., etc.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, the media might not want to do it, but by making these clickbait headlines, they convey the wrong image. You know, they want to raise debatable question in the headline just to make people read the article, and then the article says something else. But people don't read the article, they just get the headline and then think they got news from the headline, and they didn't. You know, they got fake news that were implicit in the headlines.
Yeah. So the question is still like how we gonna treat populism in general in a modern society. I think
Well, it
that's
has to die. Sorry, populism has to die. It's not useful.
I don't know that because I don't. So I agree with you that I am in strong dislike of populism. Totally agreed. But the problem is that pragmatism leads to this empty space that is filled by populists.
Well, you can have ideological discussions while still remaining on the grounds of facts.
Yeah, but we didn't. So I think Germany is
Yes.
a perfect example for
True.
that. I'm not a fan of Angela Merkel, but I would be really hard pressed to find something of the big decisions that she did where I say like, okay, I totally disagree on that. And that's basically only when she very, very, very early in the beginning tried to take back the shutdown of nuclear power plants. But then she basically seesawed on that and turned 180 degrees and closed them all down.
Yeah.
But on all big decisions, if we now take that one out, like immigration crisis, corona, bank crisis, I cannot say that I would have had a better plan or that I would not agree with the steps that she took.
Right.
It's always details that I find myself on opposite situations. Like in the banking crisis, I would have totally opted for Eurobonds. Basically boils to the idea if we as the European Union want to take up credit for our member states and if like basically economically strong countries like Germany would basically bankroll a loan by giving safety to a loan that goes, for example, to a less economic strong country or economic weaker country. And I think that the only way to actually get over this stupid nationalistic state is to say like, I accept that the person that gets sick in Italy by corona is as important as a person that gets sick in Germany.
Yes.
And that if we have resources to dish out, we dish them out to everybody who needs them and not not along some weird lines on a 1870 drawn map.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the map was redrawn a couple of times since 1870. Anyway, so you're absolutely right. There's solidarity missing among European member states.
But coming back from that, like where discussion started, so she's a pragmatist in the core. Like she looks at the problem, solves the problem. When she saw that same-sex marriage is a thing, she just put it to a vote.
Right.
She is not super conservative. Like she's not a conservative ideologue.
She's a little bit of a technocrat, I think. So she does what works. But she also has Christian, so because she's in the Christian Democratic Union, and I think she's the daughter of a pastor. So she thinks of it as Christian values, but they are very much aligned actually with the left pretty often.
But if you, for example, now look at the populists, very often they are in total disagreement to Merkel. And I think part of that is because
out of principle.
Yeah, but also because there's no ideology that they can align themselves to or not align themselves to. If you want to follow Angela Merkel as like a guiding principle, like a new Jesus Christ from the Uckermark, then you would always have to think for each and every of her decisions.
Yeah.
She's not following one ideologic line. She's taking the problem at a time. Right. That's actually something that I can agree with.
Yes. I'm actually...
so that I'm a left-wing person and she's in the wrong party, I still have to say like, okay, it's all right.
But we're the enemy, right? Because we are left and we like her.
No.
Therefore, she must be horrible.
Oh, yeah. But exactly. Exactly, that's the point. But I think like this works for like people who do science podcasts and try to think about problems generally. But I think that a lot of people who want to have a more tribalization in their life, to belong to something. This is a negative word, tribalization, but I mean it in a positive way. Mm-hmm. Like having a feeling of belonging
is important,
It's important to these people. And we can't give that to them anymore in this society. And that's where I say like, maybe there is a part of
They
populism
can
that we
belong to
need.
their bridge club. I don't have a problem with them having strong feelings for their choir or
Yeah, but
their
these people are there.
sports
Like,
club or
yeah, soccer fans, football fans all
uh,
over Europe
yeah,
have this tribalism in football.
right.
And those people are less problematic, I think, because they already have a feeling of belonging.
Yeah,
But the
except for the
really
hooligans,
scary,
but yeah.
no, but they have lots of feeling of belonging. They also
Well,
have
yeah, that's not their
violence.
problem.
They have a
That's our
violence.
problem. That's everybody else's problem.
But I think about like these people who came to Corona demonstrations.
Yes.
They're the weirdest kind of like combination of left out people. Think about like this situation. You are like a anti-vaxxer, spiritual like guru guy, and you find
Yeah.
yourself on the same demonstration than the super right-wing neo-Nazi bastard guy.
Yeah.
And you are there because you have no better feeling of belonging. And this is why I think that parties like the AfD or maybe even this Trumpism thing, this is where they point by
Yeah.
giving people a place to be. And that's the question that we should take up as a society. If we want more pragmatism, because it works nicely in democracies, we have to find another outlet for tribalism that is making tribalism useful. Like in many cases, it does.
Yeah.
Like small remote villages needed to come together as a community.
Yeah.
Um,
Even nationalism at some point was very useful.
yeah, but I agree on the point that
Yeah.
nationalism was needed to get over monarchies.
Yeah, for example. Yeah, exactly. So that was a way to overcome monarchies, as you say, and to build like a people that would work together, that would go to war together. Democracies go to war, and
Yeah.
these kind of things.
But what kind of? But if we now have to
I mean, not that I'm
fantasize,
pro-war, but
no, but it's an important point because it's like the worst thing that we can do, and if we can do that together, it shows some sort of unity.
Mhm.
But anyway, if we would now think about a modern society, what would you say would be a place where we could build up tribalism for those people who don't want a pragmatic solution politics?
Well, so except politics. So first of all, I was about to say what we need right now is some sort of nation building for Europe because
All
there's a
right,
lack of
yeah.
solidarity, and that's why, because I was talking about how nationalism had positive effects earlier. Germany especially was a cluster of many like smaller things that had nothing to do with each other.
You mean
And
dukes, all the old duchesses and
yeah,
dukedoms and stuff like that?
yeah, exactly. And then that was reunited. And then you had Bismarck, and he was actively creating a nation by creating myths that would unite the people. Some of these things worked, some didn't. Like he wanted to unite people by hatred of Catholicism. That totally didn't work.
But you would say to achieve such a situation, we would have to find a new European narrative then?
I'm not saying how, because I find this very difficult, especially because the easiest way is to do that by finding a scapegoat, making the scapegoat your enemy, and then unite against that enemy.
Yeah,
That's been something that nation building has done a lot because it's an easy way, and that's actually the way populists work too.
but
And that's not what I want to see. I don't want this kind of conspiracy myth kind of way to create a nation or sense of belonging. So that's a very difficult thing, and maybe that's what von der Leyen is trying to do with her oddly sounding new, what's it
European
called?
way of life ministry.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's not a ministry, right? But yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. So that sounded
uh,
really odd. Like, very white supremacy-ish, I find. That's what it sounded.
No, what I meant when I said would we need a new European narrative is not necessarily the narratives that were spun in 1800 and 1900. I totally agree. Like a narrative that would just work with scapegoating some other group of people that then become like the declared enemy is obviously nothing that we would need.
Yeah, anti-Semitism was strongly supported during nation-building times, obviously. So, yeah.
So, but how could a narrative look like that is not using a scapegoat situation?
I don't know. It's hard to say, to be honest.
So, what I would think,
I'm not a nation builder. I mean, you could unite in some sort of economic
a global endeavor that would destroy all life on the planet? A global endeavor happening now that would destroy all life on the planet in future, let's say just a few decades from now?
Are you talking about climate change?
Yeah, that would be an awesome narrative, wouldn't it be?
Right, yes. Let's unite against some physical menace. Like, that would be a good narrative.
It would be a good narrative. It would be also be a brilliant narrative to bring to the European Union, where you say, like, we don't need a scapegoat like that. This is our own created problem, maybe more than any other region of the world, except of some other superpowers. But we created this problem. We created enough of this problem to take responsibility.
Yes, we created most of the problem.
And how can we overcome that situation? That would be an awesome founding myth to the European Union. But the important part is, what does it do to the mind of our European citizens? And if it's like this founding myth, this great endeavor in which we partake to save the world, what could be better?
Yeah, I agree. I think, saving the planet together is a fantastic value to base a new society on.
We need this modern form of tribalism that finally crosses these weird borders and says, like, I want people in Toulouse as much to succeed as in Madrid, as in Rome, as in Athens or Lithuania. And therefore we have to also create this new narrative, and maybe also a new idea of history, and that your conflict might still be if you're born in Cologne or in Düsseldorf, but it's not anymore if you're born in France or Germany.
What do you think? Is climate action something the international community, also beyond the European Union, could unite for? How is teaching and learning at colleges and universities working out for you during the pandemic? We'd like to hear from you. You can reach us by email, info@scienceforprogress.eu, or on Twitter, @SciForProgress. If you like our podcast, please share it with your friends and colleagues. I thank you very much for listening. Have a good day. Bye-bye.